So we're working on a 2015 Ram pickup here. The problem was that there was no airflow through any of the vents. Even though the blower was running properly, just weren't getting any airflow. So Lane took apart the blower, got this pulled out of there, and I can show you what we've got going on in here. Well, for one, they don't put a cabin air filter in from the factory, which I think is really silly to not protect your evaporator and your heater core. But there's actually a cutout right here in this plastic, essentially return air of the system, and Lane cut that out and then purchased this air filter, which then slides in there. Why they don't have that from the factory, I don't know, because it's something that your pickup should have, and this one didn't have. But anyway, that just slides right into there then, and your blower is sucking the air into this part and then pushing it out from the wheel that way. And I'm going to show you what it looks like up in here. So this is all return side. That's the air that's getting sucked from the truck and then getting pushed through your system. But I'll have to stick the camera in here. But you can see that really dirty fuzzy area back there. That's supposed to be the coil, and it's just completely blocked up with hair and dirt and debris that needs to be cleaned out of there. Now that, as far as we can tell, is the evaporator, and it runs from right here over to the opposite side of this plastic housing, and then the heater core is somewhere over here. We're not exactly sure where. To remove the blower, we just took out 3 screws. And then right here is the resistor, which controls your different fan speeds. We might end up pulling that out too, so that it doesn't get wet when we're trying to clean out this thing. The liquid that we get in there should be able to drain out. On the bottom of this is a drain pan right here, so it should be able to drain out onto the ground down below, as long as it's not plugged up. But what we're thinking to do is cut a small hole somewhere right here in the plastic, so that we can get at it with this brush right here. This brush is typically used for cleaning out like dryer lint, but it's just a bristle brush with plastic bristles, so it's not going to hurt the coil, but it's pretty coarse, so it should be able to pull out all that debris. So pretty much right above this plastic.
Yeah, right where the L shape is there. And then we're going to go probably in a circular pattern, try to stay on this half, because this housing is split right here.
Looks like we're hitting, there's a plastic wall in here.
Okay, bummer.
So, but just on the other side of that plastic wall that we kind of were thinking was the coil. You can see just in there's the actual coil.
What do you think the plastic wall is doing?
I don't really know. There's just one small hole. Like, we should cut a hole on this side of it and then spray our stuff in there and blast it the opposite way of the airflow. Yeah.
Because
in theory, this is mostly dead space right here between the evaporator and this heater core, if the heater core is at an angle. And then we could also inspect the heater core. You see some coil there now?
Yep, it's the whole thing you can see.
Yep, so there's the evaporator coil, nice and visible on this side. And right down there is the heater core, just like we were imagining. So that looks good. The evaporator was the air filter for the heater core. All we got to do is get all of the debris that we were seeing in there out now, and this is going to be a really great way to access it. Just 2 screws that hold this resistor in. It uses the resistance of these different wires to use up some of the electricity and give you lower fan speeds. So here's the coil cleaner that we're going to be using. It did not come with this spout on it. We actually just took this off of the carburetor cleaner that we had over here, and it seems like that's going to work. We'll try it just on the coil. But this stuff is and should be safe to use on there. Self-rinsing on condensate producing coils indoor-outdoor. So as the coil pulls moisture out of the air, it'll actually rinse the chemical out. And it should be safe to use on the aluminum. So with the self-rinsing that they talk about on here, they're talking about condensate on the evaporator coil actually rinsing the product out, which eliminates the need for you doing it. However, we're gonna spray this stuff out with water in a spray bottle afterwards, just to make sure it doesn't damage the aluminum of the coil, because some of this stuff can actually dissolve the aluminum and cause leaks later on down the road. So just be careful and intentional to actually rinse it out, unless the product specifically says that it's aluminum safe and does not need to be rinsed. This hole right here gives us really pretty good access, and we'll be able to just get a bunch of it in and on there. Up underneath your tire here in the front, you can see that's the drain port for that drain pan. The excess stuff is dripping out. Soaked it pretty heavily from both sides. So you can see we got a good bit there. Need to add some more yet. Good bit there. And then back in this side, just got it all soaked down so it's dissolving. You're supposed to wait several minutes, so we'll probably wait 10 minutes before we start blowing some compressed air through there and then rinsing it. So we pushed this brush in from that access hole that we created, and we've just been pulling out some of the stuff that's in there. It looks like it's mostly, I don't know, just whatever debris, but it seems to catch and pull some of it out. I think mostly we're going to be winning with the compressed air. Well, yeah, I think we got it soaked pretty good. Looking really good. It's looking a lot better. So I've been blasting this thing out. Actually rinsed it, or put another layer of stuff in. And you can see it's very clean compared to what it was. But we just have a bottle of water here, and we'll use the air nozzle to blast the water out and through the coil some more. That'll prevent the aluminum from being damaged. Ended up squirting half this bottle into there and then blowing it out, and then spraying the other half of this bottle, which is just water, to get it fully rinsed. There should be considerable airflow compared to what we had before, and we didn't have to pull the dash apart significantly, so that's pretty nice. So we're going to be using these plastic weld staples to get this thing installed in there. So it only applies power when you're pressing in the red button. Makes it red hot, then you can kind of let it cool before you load in another staple and melt it in place. So we're then using a melt gun to fill in the gap with a little bit of fresh plastic. I just took this rag, reached up in the blower compartment, and wiped that whole thing out. You can see the kind of stuff that was stuck in that coil. Really nasty. So everything is put back together. We let it sit for a while, but I think we're gonna see if we get any airflow when we actually fire this thing up. That plastic welding worked pretty good for right there. Oh yeah, there's definitely airflow. You can see we've got dust flying up at us. Good airflow. Oh, the dust that came out when I opened it. That's nice airflow though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's definitely better than it was before.
At first I was like, oh no, I didn't realize it was closed off on that one. Well, I'm happy to know that there's good airflow there. So that is how you clean out the evaporator, add an air filter, and don't have to take apart the entire dash. So hope that you find this helpful. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. So talk to you later.